As Amnish was pointing out, the auto sales in December for Maruti were on the weaker side. Total sales coming in below CNBC-TV18's poll. Domestic sales also contracted for Maruti, although exports surged 23%. Shashank Srivastava, the Senior Executive Marketing and Sales at Maruti Suzuki, joins us now to discuss more on their December performance. Mr. Srivastava, always great speaking to you. And at the start of the year, let me wish you a very, very happy new year. The wholesales are down a tad bit this time, right? 1.5% year on year. Within that, domestic sales are down 6%. Can you tell us what is the outlook on retail sales? How was it in December and what's the expectation?
For the month of December, as I've explained before, normally all OEMs in the industry, as also Maruti Suzuki, we try to keep the stock levels to a minimum. So at the end of the year, the stock level is minimum. And that's the reason why typically December month you will see low wholesale, but a very high retail. And that's what we started the month with. We plan to have low wholesale and a high retail. And that's exactly how it panned out. In fact, the retail for Maruti Suzuki for December was about 230,900 units, which has been the highest ever in our history. So, and that was a good growth over last year's number of 201,700. That's a growth of about 12.5% over last year.
Mr. Srivastava, hi, good morning and season's greetings to you. Just want to talk about that export number, which is 26,884 versus 21,951. That's a month-on-month comparison. So what has led to this increase, and do you think it can be sustained?
Of course, for the month of November, there were a couple of shipments that we missed out towards the end, which get reflected in the December figures. But even if you look at the cumulative numbers, both for this year and in fact for the calendar year, the exports have done very well. Our exports been 269,050 odd vehicles, which is the highest ever export that we have done in a calendar year. And that's a good growth over last year's exports. I think exports have been doing well, and we do hope that even in the financial year, we will be increasing substantially our numbers over last year.
Well, good to see you in, Mr. Srivastava. And, in 2023, you crossed an annual sales of around 20 lakh units in a calendar year. My question to you is, how much better can 2024 be?
Yeah, so maybe I'll not be able to give you a forward-looking number for Maruti because there could be market moving. However, for the industry, this year with about 41.1 lakh sale, this is a pretty high base. So so far, our research shows that on this high base, you will see the growth levels next year to be slightly muted. So I would expect a single-digit growth over this year or next year.
Okay. All right. Expect a single-digit growth. Can you tell us the SUV segment is growing very well? What has the growth been in this month gone by? What is the volume and what's the revenue market share right now?
For us, for this calendar year, SUVs, of course, was very big because, in terms of the overall numbers, we could manage in this year 395,000 SUVs. This is against 165,000 SUVs of last year. There's been a substantial jump over last year in terms of our sale. I don't have the exact revenue percentage, but I would guess it's very high because at least about 18-20% up, because the mid SUV share has also gone up much of the share is because of mid SUVs going up. Our Grand Vitara, 114,000 this year against just 34,000 of last year. That's in the slightly on the higher price side. So the revenues also should go up, although at this point, I'm not able to give you the exact number. Should be around the 18-20% range.
Okay, got that. Mr. Srivastava, what is the order book position now? Last time you gave us a number of 250,000. So where is it at present?
It is around 215,000 now as of 1st of January.
Let's just talk about, the competitive intensity as well, particularly perhaps in the SUV space. How have discounts been in the third quarter, because in the second quarter, the average discounting was about 17,700 rupees at an average per unit. So what's the picture in Q3?
Should be in that 19,000 range, slightly higher than Q2. And in December alone would be even slightly higher than that, maybe the 20,000, 20,500 type of number. But of course, as I mentioned, December discount levels were some of the highest that we have seen because of this pressure to bring the stock levels down and therefore push for larger retails. And that also is what I explained was the reason for the lower wholesale, the much higher retails.
All right, Mr. Srivastava, have you seen any kind of pickup in demand, particularly at the entry-level segment?
So currently they are around 30% of the overall passenger vehicle. Last year they were about 35%. So there is a fall there. However, we are expecting that this would be stable for this next financial year and also the next calendar year. So this year the industry sale for the small cars is about 12,20,000. So I would expect it to be around the same level in that 12 lakh to 12.5 lakh level for next year.
All right, what was the growth like in the month of December in both the rural as well as the urban area? If you can share that with us.
So rural versus urban, December month, after many months, urban did a little better than rural. In the month of December, urban growth was 12.1%, 11.9% was the rural growth. But if you look at the cumulative year, let's say the calendar year, Jan to December, rural growth has been 10.4% against urban growth of 7.3%. And for April to December, that's the financial year that we work by, rural growth 12.3% against 8.9% for urban. So still rural growth higher, but December was a little lower than the urban growth. Our penetration is roughly around 44% is the rural penetration, whereas for the industry, the penetration is estimated to be around 31-32%.
Interesting trends there. So urban finally catching up with rural in December. Finally, sir, what about market share? Just give us the numbers. I mean, overall passenger vehicles and specifically in the SUV segment.
Market share, because our growth in the calendar year was slightly higher than the industry. The industry growth was 8.3%. Our growth was 8.4%. As a result, our market share went up marginally to about 41.6% for the calendar, 41.7% over 41.5% of last year. Retail market share estimated in December, of course, was pretty large. As we said, our retails in December was large, and our retails market share in December alone was in fact in excess of 50%. For the SUV, our market share is just above 20%. Last year it was 10.5%, so it sort of doubled over last year in this calendar year.
It's been a good year for you, specifically on that SUV fight. Maruti making strong inroads there. Thank you very much for joining in, and once again wish you a very, very happy 2024.